Today I'm going to use the keyboard to practice the guitar. I know that it may sound a little bit out of place, but I have a specific reason why I'm going to do that. I want to use the keyboard to practice to practice intervals as an example for the guitar. Most students of the guitar, including myself, don't really, when they start playing the guitar, they don't really concentrate on anything else but playing chords, some chords, some chords in order to play, you know, some popular songs. But of course, it's very important to understand the guitar to be able to explore what this beautiful instrument can do. So I'm going to practice. I'm going to use the keyboard to practice intervals as an example for the guitar, because I'm going to start posting some videos about intervals on the guitar. So we can imagine that. Well, we can imagine the keyboard as the fingerboard, the fretboard of the guitar. And one thing that we need to know, we should know as guitar players, as students of the guitar, that intervals are very important in music, because all the good sounds we hear in music, the all the nice chords we hear in music, they comprise different kinds of intervals. So it's very, very important to understand at least something about the makeup of intervals. I'm going to use the on the keyboard. I'm going to use the middle C as the start of as the starting point of the intervals I want to go over. First of all, one thing that is very important for the students of the guitar to know, that a good way to understand intervals is by knowing the number of steps between the notes, especially number of half steps between the notes in a key. For example, the number of steps between the notes in the key of a major scale. For example, the major scale. How many steps we have in the major scale? how many steps we have in a chromatic scale. When I say chromatic scale, I mean playing a scale in half steps only. You starting from the root and go up or down half steps, not whole step, just half steps, all the way to the 12 note of the chromatic scale. The major scale is built from the chromatic scale. So there's not too much I'm going to say. I'm going to go over. I just want to give the guitar, the students of the guitar, some kind of understanding, some kind of understanding about the how to approach the intervals on the guitar, because I'm going to start posting some videos about that subject, and I will use the guitar to do so, not the keyboard. So if we take on the keyboard, if we use the middle C as our starting point to play intervals, and we know that an interval is the distance between two notes, from one note to another note. If I play C, middle C, and I go to D, the distance between C and D, that's an interval, but there's a name for it. I don't want to go that far right now. The only thing I want the students of the guitar to focus on is just imagine the keyboard as your fingerboard or your fretboard on the guitar. And if I play a C on the keyboard, let's play I'm going to play the middle C right here, and I move one step, a whole step, I move up a whole step, I play the D. So on the guitar, it's the same thing. You play the C and you skip one fret and you play the next fret. So that's a whole step. On the guitar, when you play one note and you skip a fret, you play a whole step. On the keyboard, if I play the C right here, the middle C, and I play the next note up, which is C sharp, see, that's a half step. Okay, so on the guitar you play the C, you don't skip a fret, you play the next fret, that's a half step. Okay, C sharp. Okay, C sharp is also D flat. Okay, those when you play a sharp, you know, it's also a flat of the I mean you play the whole step, okay? All right. So if I play C sharp from C to half step to C sharp, that's a half step, that's sharp. Now if I play the D and I lower D half a step, I play the same, I play the same C sharp, but now since I lower from, I'll start from D and lower D a half step, so that C sharp now becomes D flat. So one key is used for two notes and harmonic. We in music they call it an harmonic. All right. So it's the same thing on the guitar. I play C on the guitar, one fret, and I move a half step. Okay, one fret up. I don't skip. Okay, that's a half step. If I skip one fret, I go to D. That's a whole step. From D on the guitar, if I move down half a step, okay, that's D flat. Okay, it's almost, well, it's the same thing. Well, almost the same thing, because obviously we're talking about two different instruments. So that's what interval is. It's a distance between two notes, and that makes a big difference in the sound of music, in the sound of chords. That distance. So if I can play, starting with using the middle C as my starting point to play intervals, I can play C to G. I'm gonna skip some notes and play C G. That's an interval. I'm not going to give you the name now. I'm just trying to make you understand what intervals are. If I play C again, middle C, and I go to A, that's an interval. From C to A, there's a name for it also. See, that's a distance between C and A. That's the same thing. That's the same thing on the guitar. You play the C, okay, and you play then you play A. You skip all those notes and you go all the way. You go up all the way to A. That's a distance. That's it. That's the distance between C and A. That's called an interval. There's a name for it. Okay. So next time when I start posting videos about playing intervals on the guitar, I'm gonna use the guitar, but I'm just trying to get you ready, the students of the guitar. I'm trying to get you ready. When I do it, you will have some kind of idea how that goes. What about, okay? What I'm gonna play the chromatic the C chromatic scale to show you what I meant by chromatic scale. You play half step all the way from C to C. Okay, that's 12 notes in the chromatic scale. It's the same thing on the guitar. You start with a C, you don't skip a fret, you go all the way to C again. Okay, that will be C will be octave. That's 8 note. But well, let me rephrase that. When you play C to B, that will be 12 note, and you play C, that will be the octave. You start another you can start another chromatic scale until wherever. So okay, this is a middle C. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's the C chromatic scale. Chromatic, that means all the way to from C to B. From C to B, 12 notes. I did not skip any note. I play half steps all the way. All the way to B, which is 12 notes. Then, of course, after the B, you start C again, which we call octave, and then you can play another chromatic scale if you have a big, if you have a big piano, then you can play chromatic scale, as many as, well, not as many as the chromatic scale you want, but you can play quite a few of chromatic scales all the way up until you reach the end, until you reach the last C on the piano. It's the same thing on your fingerboard on the guitar, on your fretboard on the guitar. You start you start playing C from a fret. You don't skip any fret until you get to B. You got your 12 note chromatic scales, and then from the C octave you can start another scale. That's and like I said before, every interval has a name. Okay, it can be a major second, a minor second, a major third, a minor third. It can be augmented, diminished. Okay, so that's what makes music so beautiful, the differences between those intervals. Okay, that is a very important thing to know in music. The differences between the different intervals in music, because they sound differently. Okay. So next time, okay, before I close, the main thing for me, the way, in my opinion, the best way to learn the The intervals is by knowing, by counting the number of half steps in that particular interval. How many half how many half steps you have in that particular intervals? Because you know 2 half steps equal to 1 whole step. So when I start posting videos about intervals on the guitar, I'm gonna go by I'm gonna do it by counting the number of half half steps between those intervals, between the distance of 2 notes, how many half steps, okay? And then by the number of half steps we have between those 2 notes, then we will know the names of those intervals. So get ready, students of the guitar. Together we will go through it, and then we will get better playing that beautiful instrument, which is the guitar.